Chad Eckert. It's not Eric Martins. It is the Fantasy Golf Pod. Follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Golf Pod. Today, I have a DFS and betting writer for FanShare Sports and for Golf Digest. Live from England, Lee Alldrick.
Hello.
Lee,
how you doing?
It's bloody good to see you, mate.
Yeah, that's a good accent. Better than mine.
Thank you. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Nice, a pint. Oh, wow. Look at that big glass.
Yeah, nice pint of Doombar.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, cheers.
Great drink.
Lee is DK Golf Bargains on Twitter. Great handle. Brilliant, really. That's the name of the game, Lee. Finding those bargains, is it not, on DraftKings?
That's it, yeah, absolutely. And that's how it started for me. I used to do an article highlighting people who are under $7,000 and saying who you should go for, because, well, that's the real trick, isn't it? Everyone knows the star players and who's going to do well. It's finding those bargains down at the bottom. So that's how it all started.
Cool. So I just got out into the garage. It's Sunday afternoon today. It's the 17th of May. The driving relief is currently on. There's live golf, Lee. Are you aware of this? Or do you care about this?
No, I am aware of it. Yeah, I did a little article for Golf Digest about it. So yeah, it's exciting. In fact, I will be watching that a little bit later.
Yeah, you got to get through all those commercials, Lee. They're going to pound us with commercials.
Yeah, I'll find something to do during that.
Yeah. Lee, I'm checking in. I'm chatting with people from around the industry to learn a little bit more, to get better during this forced off season. You admittedly are a pretty private person, maybe just more so on Twitter too. So I wanted to get to know, Lee, what's your little background? You're in England. Where exactly? Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you?
So I'm in Lincolnshire, which is a county not too far away from Robin Hood country. I guess that's the area that we're looking at.
Nice.
Cool. So yeah, it's very, very quiet. I'm out in the countryside. Not a lot of distractions. It's really nice. Quiet.
But it's quiet, even though you mentioned to me before we started recording, you got 2 kids under 4. That's not so quiet then.
That's not quiet. There's never any quiet at the minute when the kids are awake. Luckily, they're in bed now. So that bit's done. So I'm here now enjoying the peace and quiet after another hectic day of lockdown.
Right. And then you're working from home. Is this what you do full time? Is provide information and stuff to FanShare Sports, to Golf Digest? Is this your full time gig?
No, it's not a full time job. I've got another job that I do 25 hours a week, but I try and keep it down to 25 hours so that I can do this because I love doing this and this is my passion.
Yeah. Well, you're good at it, Lee. You've got some hot takes and you've been writing them up on our FanShare Sports, an affiliate, a friend of ours. We had Andrew on. I talked to him about his business. How did you get hooked up with FanShareSports.com?
So when FanShare came out and they were starting to list how many tags writers had tagged players in, I used to just forward my article through to them and say, I've tagged this guy, and this guy. So they would add that. And then I think Andrew started reading the articles and I think he liked the articles. And from there, he asked me to do some writing for them. And yeah, it's all gone from there. Writing the under the radar article every week.
Cool. And then now you don't just cover golf. It might be your focus, but you're also covering and writing about football and football as well. Are you doing both? Football?
Yeah, proper football or soccer, as you guys call it over there. I don't do so much writing about the football. I'd love to if I had more time. I've got no time to do that. But I'd love to one day. But I do play a lot of football or soccer on DraftKings, Champions League, EFL.
Okay. You mentioned that you have played on DraftKings only for a couple of years because it's only been available for a couple of years in where you are. Is that true?
So in England, it hasn't been available for that long. It feels like 2 years, but it's probably a bit longer than that. When you have kids, you've got no idea of time. So it may be 4 or 5 years, but yeah, it's not been over here very long.
Well, then where was the first time you fell in love with fantasy sports? Is it when you were a kid or you always been into this?
Well, I've got a friend that lives over in America, and he plays it, and he told us about it, and I was like, oh, that's brilliant. I need to get involved in that. went to log in and got the message saying it's not available in your location. So then a couple of years later, I read that it was coming out and signed up straight away, and been playing it ever since. But I used to do a lot of betting on golf, especially golf, and had some success at that, drilling into the stats. So that's kind of how it started with the betting side.
Okay, cool. Now let's go back to the FanShare stuff. You mentioned that article. It's was it like based on Showdown stuff at first, or are you focusing more on Showdown lately?
No, well, it started on the normal slates, and then not just the PGA, but we were doing Europe ones as well, for those that like to play Europe golf. And then Showdown came out, and Showdown became a big thing. And to be honest, it was just something else to write about. So I started writing the Showdown ones, and people enjoyed it, and we're doing well off of them. So yeah, so now we're doing the Showdown, PGA, and Euro golf. So we've got you covered at FanShare Sports.
And well, you're doing Outlaw tour as well.
Oh yeah, well, I need to write. So
Yeah.
so with there being no other golf around, and with having the passion for writing about it, yeah, I've started doing the Outlaw, which I've really enjoyed. Really enjoyed the Outlaw. In fact, I hope DraftKings carry on the Outlaw as well as the PGA when it starts or restarts.
Great. You've had some green screens. Are you cashing in? Are you making some mega profit? You had a GPP win just recently, didn't you?
I had a GPP win this week, yeah, on the show. I think it was a second round Showdown. Took down a GPP this week, which was nice. And then start of the year, I took down 2 mini maxes at the start of the year. I think 2 within 3 weeks, and took them both down, which was really nice. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not turning massive profits because I only play GPP. I don't do the cash games. It's kind of for fun for me. I don't want to grind it out, but I do want to enter those events with the big prizes. If I'm putting 6, 7, 8 hours of researching every week, then I may as well play the GPPs and see what happens.
Well, so are you having more success on the week-long stuff, or are you having more success on the round-by-round Showdown?
Probably the full week events, but also some success on the Showdowns as well. It's just that I've only been playing the Showdowns. Well, they've only been out for a year and a half or so.
Okay.
So yeah, a bit of a mixture, really.
What have you found is like a rule of thumb for your Showdown strategy? Do you have a rule of thumb?
Yeah, I like to. I drill a lot into the performance of putting on certain greens. So when it comes to a Showdown, if a player hasn't putted particularly well in one round, but I know that they are a good putter on those surfaces, then I'll target those players in the next round, knowing that they'll be low owned and possibly a little less priced. And yeah, I'll target those ones, knowing that if they're hitting the ball well tee to green, and I know they can put well on that surface, then the chances are the next day they'll come out and get a good score. So that's the way I approach it.
Okay, that's a decent basis for thinking on those things. But now you have a system that you've kind of put together for FanShare Sports. This thing's called the course suitability ranking. Lee, suitability, that's pretty like schmwa. Is this a fancy England thing that you came up with? What's the suitability ranking?
So it's just how well ranked, how well suited that course is to the player. So depending on the par of the course, the length of the course, the grass on the course, the location of the course, and you can put all that into FanShare Pro dashboard, and you can see which players score most points on average given those conditions. So when you start looking into that, you can create a bit of a ranking for every player in the field. So that's all I've done, really. I mean, it sounds a lot better than what it is, but realistically, that is all it is.
So is it from a spreadsheet and you came up with a formula kind of thing, or what? How do you? What?
Yeah. So it's using the FanShare tools that are available, and then I create a spreadsheet and then put a few extra little things in there, the secret sauce, so to speak, and then get players into a ranking and get that on the dashboard so that you can see who's most suited to that course. Because there's some courses where you don't have a lot of history, and course form is obviously a big thing. But I think if we can just spread it out and include a few more courses on there, you're going to get better results. So that's why I've come up with a course suitability ranking.
Cool. What about your process? We've been trying to get everyone to tell us how they play PGA DFS on DraftKings. What's your weekly process like? How many players are in your player pool? Do you consider ownership? Do you have a routine? Do you only play 3 maxes? Do you use one lineup? Just give us your kind of weekly overall routine.
Well, we're being fairly new to it. The strategy wasn't brilliant to start with, but that's kind of changed this year. I thought I'd sit down and I'd work out a strategy. So my strategy for this year was to max out the mini-max every week, because like I say, I only play GPP, so I'm going to lose money, a lot of weeks. So I just stick with maxing out the mini-max and then a couple of the single entries as well. And then I have a player pool probably of around 30 players each week. And then I just use a lineup generator on FanShare Sports to generate 150 lineups.
So you're using only 30 players for 150 lineups? Do you have a lot of overlap?
Yeah, so I might manually go in and change, because when you get a lot of the lower players that are down at 6,000, 6,300, because you're only using 30 players, you're going to end up with 10% ownership of them. And I don't really want 10% ownership on Chad Campbell at 6,300. So I'll manually go in and I'll just swap around the bottom range so that it brings it down to about 5%.
So you cashed a couple times on this mini-max thing. I only play that short game, 20 entry stuff. Tell me more about the mini-max and why you found success there. How's the strategy on that?
Yeah, so reading a lot and listening to a lot of podcasts about the strategy and trying to get up on that side of it, it seems the general consensus is the more lineups you can put in, the greater chance you are going to taking down a GPP. So I thought I've got all this information in front of me on FanShare, all this research that I do. So why not create 150 lineups? Now, I used to do every single one manually last year until I realised that you could import it onto DraftKings. So that's how behind this strategy I was this time last year. So I didn't even realise that you could manually or automatically upload it onto DraftKings. So I was there spending 3 hours just manually creating them all.
Wow. Well, some people like doing that. I make the 20 by hand, writing it down, and it's fun. But yeah. Once you start to get past 40 lineups, you're like, geez, this is tedious crap. I don't even care.
Yeah, that's it. 20
you can generate. So you're using a generator. Is it from FanShare Sports?
Yeah, the FanShare Sports generator. And the good thing about that is you can do AM waves, PM waves. So you got a lot of flexibility on there. So I always try and get at least 10 lineups with everyone in the AM wave, 10 lineups with everyone in the PM wave, and then just mix and max on the rest of them.
Okay. Well, Lee, you're kind of a big deal since you've made it onto the Golf Digest panel of experts, which includes the PME, Pat Mayo.
Yeah.
How's that going? How'd you get hooked up with Golf Digest?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's going really well. And that came about, I think, because FanShare and Golf Digest got chatting, and we suggested that maybe we should just send a few picks in every week. So we started doing that, and then they started including them, and it's gone really well. I mean, in fact, this year, the first full year that I've done it, I'm actually up for every section that they do. So winner, top 10, head to head, and it seems I've hit a bit of a niche on the top 10 because I think I've got 13 winners this year out of 18, something like that. So yeah, I seem to have hit a niche on the head to head. But I mean, that's just based off of stats and reading the stats and seeing what players aren't quite priced right in the market, because you have 2 players next to each other in the betting market that really shouldn't be next to each other. So you can tend to go by that and pick out some good head-to-head bets.
Are you worried about ownership then? It seems like you don't care. You just pick your guys.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. No, ownership, I am. Yeah, sorry, I've got to say, yeah. So ownership is a big thing. So it's not so much an issue if they're one of the high-priced players and they're going to do well. But I don't want a 20% owned $7,000 player or an 18% owned $6,800. So then I'll try and drop that down to just 3% ownership and mix some other players in that are going to be low owned. So yeah, it does make a big difference. There's nothing worse than when you've got a player doing really well, but you're not moving up the the leaderboard because everybody's got them. So yeah, I think it is key to have that gem in there, that low price, low owned gem, especially in Showdown.
Now, this could be kind of random, but did you grow up in England? Did you grow up watching American sports at all? Are you in the era that I was in, where I was 13 years old in the 1998 Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls season, where the 30 for 30 right now is about? Did you care about American sports growing up?
No, to be honest, no. We didn't really have anything to watch American sports on over here back when I was younger, 20 years ago. Well,
so then who's your Michael Jordan? Is it Messi or whatever his name is?
David Beckham.
Beckham, okay.
Yeah. No, that's what we watch over here. So, well, we've got random sports. We've got cricket and all the random sports like that we're all into over here. So yeah, we do like our sport over here in England. Big sports
fans. What about
fans.
golf though? Are you a golfer? Have you always been a golfer? Are you a stick?
Yeah.
What's your handicap?
I was a golfer until the kids came along, and now not so much because you don't have time to do it. But yeah, I played golf probably about 4 times a week because my job would finish at 2 in the afternoon. So in the summer, I'd be driving straight out to the golf course and we'd go and play golf. So I probably spent between 18 and 30, the ages of 18 and 30, playing a lot of golf. So I never had lessons, but I did get down to I got down to 9. So I made single figures.
Nice.
And I think by the time I left, it's probably about 12, 13.
Okay, cool. That's pretty good.
I love playing golf. I'd played it all the time.
For fun. Lee, I got to bring this up because I learned that you once had a photo shoot in your underwear for Today's Golfer magazine. I'm going to put the picture up. I'm going to show the picture. So it's probably being shown right now. What is up with this? Explain yourself. This seems abnormal to me. How did you fall into this position?
So when I was about 18, 19, 20, something like that, the big golf magazine in England, Today's Golfer, they were running an article which was Today's Golfer will fix it for you to do what you want to do. So I suggested to them, can I spend the day like Ian Poulter? Just because I knew people liked Ian Poulter and I thought that'd be a cool way to spend the day. So they loved the idea and they said, yeah, come along down to Milton Keynes. I got my hair cut in the salon where he gets his hair cut, hence why I look like that in the picture. And then we went to the golf club and he just brought his clothing range out at the time. So they said, can we model some of his clothes? Pretend that you're spending the day like in Poulter, doing a bit of modelling. And then there's that famous photo shoot that he did with just the golf bag over him. And so they said, do you mind? Should we do this? I was like, why not? Like, we're here anyway. So yeah, let's do it. So yeah, we did the pose, and that's how.
There you go. All right. So did you get paid for that?
No, didn't get paid for it, but I did get to have a round of golf round Woburn, and I got that haircut for free, which probably would have cost about £50.
Yeah, there you go. So it was worth it.
So it was worth it just for the haircut.
Eric and I, we've talked about the difference between Euro and PGA, not only just in general, but just playing DraftKings. It seems more of a gamble, more of roulette, more of Outlaw tour style, playing Euro when I have, bigger fields typically with names that I've never heard of, lots of variance there. PGA's got a lot of variance. Euro, that seems crazy. Are you playing Euro? Are you finding success there? Do you have strategies for Euro PGA?
I play Euro. Yeah, I play Euro. But you're absolutely right. It is so volatile. It's crazy. So I always find I was getting 5 out of 6 for every week. And the one that wasn't getting through was a top-priced $10,000 guy. And it was happening every week. And it was so frustrating because I'm getting $6,400 guy through. I'm getting $7,000 guy through the cut. And then your high-priced 10,000 favourite misses a cut. So, yeah, you're right. It is volatile. But because it is volatile, you can win money on it. So you just got to wait for those weeks when the top guys do well.
Okay. Before I get you out of here, statistics. You're into statistics. This is kind of the basis of your formulating these articles and looking for values and bargains. What's your favorite stat? What's the go-to stat you rely on the most?
I think for me, where I differ to most people is I do look into the putting a lot more. Now, I understand the argument that the putter is hot one day, goes cold the next day, and that's where you're going to have your most variance. But I think you can gain an edge if you know how well they put on POA, on Bermuda, shots gained on bent grass. Then I think you can get a tiny edge off of that, especially in the showdowns.
Perfect. I mean, honestly, we talk about the grass every week. That's extremely important. People are from different parts of the country and they grow that kind of grass. They've grown up playing it, putting on it. I agree. I think putting is important and it is variant, but so is everything else in golf. Lee, I appreciate your time. Thank you for stopping by. If you want more from Lee, remind the people where they can find you.
So you can find me on FanShare Sports, or you can find me on Twitter. So the Twitter handle is @DKGolfBargains. So yeah, if you search for me on there, you'll find me, and yeah, give me a follow. That'd be good.
Boom. There you go. Thank you, sir. Talk to you soon. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.